Hey everyone, Ali with Remax. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for tuning in and checking out this market update. This last month has been a bit of an interesting one with all the announcements and things like that have been coming through. But I just wanted to take this opportunity and kind of bring it down to our local market here to give you an idea of kind of how we've been shifting our market since the springtime and a little bit of comparison to the previous year because that's always important. So let's just dive right into it and kind of get into the numbers. So this month, the activity rate, which is the number of sales divided by the number of active listings, is down to 42%. This is a little bit better than we were last month at 38% in September, but it's still kind of hovering around that same amount, right? That's only about a 4% change month over month. The change did come from the number of active listings dropping slightly by 2% from the previous month, whereas the number of sales actually went up in the month of October by 9% compared to September. And how this kind of reflects to last year, the number of active listings is still higher by about 34%, whereas the number of sales hasn't really changed. It was kind of about the same amount that we were last year at this point, even with that increase. The only other part that I wanted to kind of mention when it comes to the absorption rate is we are still kind of sitting in that 40 to 60%, balanced market, almost on the brink of a buyer's market like we were last month, but we didn't quite hit it yet. There are still opportunities there to kind of negotiate, take advantage of due diligence like doing inspections. And the rates are coming down, which is an interesting part of this too, because as the prices are kind of remaining flat, as we'll talk about in a little bit here, as the activity rate kind of drops, prices you would kind of expect to kind of come down with that. But what we're seeing is the interest rates are dropping and the pricing is kind of still remaining the same. So that's interesting to kind of see. The next part that I wanted to dive into here was the median sale prices for the different segments of properties. So the detached homes, we've had a decline of about 1.5% from the previous month. We are now sitting at a median price of about $699, $900. Attached homes, we saw about a 4.6% increase, which is interesting, to $623,875. Townhouses, we saw another decline of about 2.8%, and that new median price is about $437,500. And finally, apartments, we saw another decline of about 4.8% month over month, and those are now sitting about $315. So you can kind of see where we saw the increases, which was in the attached segment, but we also saw a decrease in the detached segment. So if you're thinking about the avatar of that type of buyer that's looking to purchase that type of home, they are still kind of shopping in between the detached and attached areas. But what's been happening is they've been moving more towards the attached, driving that demand up a little bit more. And then we are seeing that little bit of a price increase. But the other three segments, townhouses, apartments, and detached homes, are all seeing declines this month, which is to be expected because, like I mentioned earlier, our activity rate is declining. A lot of that is due to the amount of active listings that are available to the market and to buyers, so they are able to negotiate and work on those types of items to get a better deal for themselves. What this means for buyers and sellers is a little bit of a unique thing. In my Instagram post yesterday, I had mentioned that it's a perfect storm for buyers right now. I mean, if your rates are coming down and you're able to take advantage of maybe a variable rate pre-approval or a 3-year fixed, that's pretty decent right now. You can take advantage of having a little bit more negotiating in price, and you're able to do your due diligence. You are a little bit more in the driver's seat now when it comes to purchasing a property. When it comes to sellers, it's a little bit of a different story, right? Because the sellers are still trying to get their price and still trying to get a higher value for their home, which they can. I mean, year over year, we are still above on a detached market, for example, about 11%. So the pricing is still there. It's just not as high as it once was. And that's something I think sellers need to kind of reflect on and adjust with. If you do need to sell your property right now, or if you're worried about renewals coming up or something like that, let's have a talk because because I am a mortgage broker as well, I can also assist you with kind of understanding what that looks like, what that renewal looks like, and if you do absolutely need to sell, we can have that conversation also. But understanding where you kind of sit in the market understanding that your pricing is going to be coming down a little bit, but you are still much better off than where you were pre-COVID times. You can still make the money out of your property and get that investment out of it, right? So it's good for us to have that conversation. Maybe connect with me. You can always send me a DM or put a comment below and we can connect. I'm more than happy to sit down with anyone that's interested in kind of get a little bit more detail into this market update. This is for Calgary and the surrounding area, like just Calgary area, sorry. If you're interested in learning more about like the Okotoks market, the Cochrane market, for example, the Chestermere market, I'm more than happy to go through those numbers with you. Or if you are interested in learning what your value of your property is, I'm more than happy to kind of connect with you, help you understand where you sit, give you a net sheet of what you'll be looking at, looking at penalties, because that's a big part about selling your property when it comes to mortgage penalties, and having this honest conversation with you to understand where you sit and if it makes sense and what are the next steps of that should be. Please feel free to reach out with any questions that you have, as I mentioned, and hopefully we'll connect soon, and take care. See you soon.